children in underground bases. It's not just children in these underground places and bases. There are all sorts of people of all ages in these underground cities. And the closest you can say of what it is you can say it's almost like a separate country. Or you can say like it's a separate society. Or you can say like it's a breakaway civilization. Or you can say it's a separate civilization with separate rules, laws, regulations, with its own distinct culture, its own, you know, phrases and spoken words and language that is distinct upon itself as its own separate entity of a society, where it is basically people are living like already as if the end has come, like meaning this end times of advanced society, this end times antichrist society is already like that underneath the ground. It has already happened underneath. And the devil wants it to be where it rises up into the surface of the world so that a whole bunch of people, so that he can kill every single person, as much people as he possibly can. The point of the underground cities is because that's what the devil wants. The devil is the one that created the concept of an underground city to begin with. But even the devil stole the concept of what a city is from God. The first city to ever be was a heavenly city, is a heavenly city. It exists now in another place, in another time, in another dimension, where your flesh and blood body, the way it is, you cannot go there unless God himself or God sent a good angel to take you to that place called heaven, also known as paradise, perfect paradise world. So in these underground cities run by the devil, it has its own separate government, and it's the underground government that is ruling over the above ground government. This is why things don't really change that much in terms of the amount of evil and corruption that is occurring. Okay, so it's not going to be where a person is going to understand this if they are, continually voting in elections, and they're not going to understand it. Okay, they're not going to understand it. So I'm not here to convince anybody of anything, prove anything, or argue about anything. I also don't need or care about other sources, because this is firsthand experience. I am the source. The source is basically my life and every single thing that's happened in it. That's what it is. And when I was involved in certain things, certain jobs that I was doing, certain work that I was doing for the devil. I was working for devils. Everybody in the underground works for devils. Now, there isn't just children and adults and teenagers and preteens and all ages of people in the underground. There's also children and a whole bunch of people in other places, in other worlds, in other times, in other dimensions. The amount of people that exist is vast. You think that the world population stats of however many billions it's up to now, You think that that's the total amount of people that exist? No. There's countless numbers of people that exist. Countless. More than billion. More than billions. Whatever the official numbers are. The official numbers aren't even true for this world, anyway. But let's say they were true. There's way more. Because there's a whole bunch of kids and children in other worlds, too. And the devil's in charge of that as well. See, this is all information that has been hidden away, also known as occulted. I love all these fancy words that people come up with to describe baby raping, baby murdering, demonically possessed, mind controlled people, and the way they operate. So they come up with the fancy words to put an air of mystique, an air of royal, of that purple on it. Okay, they're trying to put that purple on it, that royalty, and it doesn't have anything to do about that. What's royal? What's so royal about killing babies every single day? How is that royal? How is that like a fancy thing to do? That's what happens in these underground places, you know. What do you think it's for? The devil created that. What do you think the devil is there for to do? The devil is there for to kill you and to make you not know about God and make you not know about Jesus. That's it. That's it. That's the whole story. That's the whole story. Get people to partake in evil to the extent where their physical being is infested and infected with evil spiritual beings, evil spirits, devils, demons, jinns, whatever name. I don't give a shit anymore about their fancy names. I don't care about their names. Okay? To get a person to be so demonically possessed, that basically they're dead, but not. To get them so demonically possessed where they turn themselves into a devil, basically. To turn themselves into a devil. To have so many devils living in their body that there's no more room or space for anything that is of a man or anything that's of a woman anymore. And it just becomes devil then at that point. And so in these underground places where the real government is, where the real decisions that affect your life personally and the lives of those that you love very much, literally, are being affected by these people. You think God likes it? No. But what affects them? What affects them? What goes against them? Prayer, mainly. Loving other people, majorly. That's basically the main thing. Whatever form or shape loving someone takes. So if loving someone takes on the form of being their friend, talking to them, making them feel better about themselves, whatever the form loving someone takes. I mean, those are just examples, but there's infinite examples. The only thing that affects them is prayer and loving. Prayer and loving. Now, I've seen over and over again from quote unquote journalists with their anonymous sources saying that they rescued 1,000 children over there, they rescued 400 children over here in the underground base. I'm not talking about like the police where it's on the news. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like these journalists that say that they have sources at the Pentagon, or they have sources at this place or that place, and a whole bunch of kids were rescued from these underground places, and it was like very fucked up. I don't know if I believe it. Let's say it's true, okay? Let's say that they were rescued, right? And what I have to say about that is, well, what about the rest of them? See, it's not enough. Once you really see how evil it is, once you see that there's like hundreds of millions of, maybe even billions and billions of kids that have been in these underground things, it's not enough to just rescue 1,000 here, 500 there, 100 there, 10 here. It's great, but it's not nearly enough. And so why is it, here's the question. Why is it that people that worship the devil and kill babies, why is it that they get to be in charge of things in a way where it's directly affecting your very life and very existence in this world right now, this second? Why? It doesn't seem legit. It doesn't seem fair. And it's actually pretty fucked up that the way it is, the ones who get to be in charge are the ones who kill babies and children and people and adults and murder them and eat them and drink up their bodily fluid, blood, everything. Raw, cooked. And they get to rule you. They get to be in charge of you. They get to dictate policy. Not the policy of the above ground government. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about anything that you can see with your eyes above the ground on the surface of this earth. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about miles deep underneath the ground. Okay? Miles deep underneath the ground. Gigantic cities. Super futuristic style type of city with this crazy, insane type of technology where children are literally bought and sold like slaves. A future society filled with devil worship, child slavery, where the child is a slave, meaning that you could do whatever it is that you want to that kid, and no one is going to bat an eye or do anything because that's part of the culture. That is part of the culture. The culture is killing the baby. The culture is murdering the child. The culture is abusing the child, raping the child, cannibalizing the child, chopping the child's head off, arm off, leg off, poking the child's eye out, castrating the child, cooking the child alive, skinning the child, ripping the child's skull cap off. Who do you think is ruling you? Who do you think is ruling this place? What do you think they do? They do things like this. But keep voting, though. Keep voting. Even though the actual real government, right underneath your feet, a couple miles deep, is the ones that are actually in charge of who gets to be on the ballot to begin with. And they're doing those things to little babies and little kids. But you keep on voting, though. Keep doing it. As if it's going to make a difference. It's not. See, this is happening right now. I'm not talking about something that happened like 5 years ago and it no longer happens anymore. Where it doesn't happen anymore. It's not happening. No, it's happening right now, this very moment. It's not going to be on mainstream television. Who do you think is in charge of creating the TV, inventing the technology? Once you see that you are in a satanic, fallen angel, demonic situation where you were born into it already being like that. But because you see, your parents, they didn't know anything. They were ignorant, okay? They didn't know. And their parents before them didn't know. And their parents before them didn't know. Or if they did know, they didn't teach you it and they didn't tell you. Either way, nobody told you. Nobody told you this. You're born, you're a little kid. You don't know anything. And then you see bad things happening. And it's like, why? Why all these bad things? And you don't understand it. Where's it coming from? It's coming from the devil doing his best to run every single thing into the ground here so that every single man, woman, and child can be killed in the most painful, horrific way possible. And there are people from existing from a long time ago that have made secret spiritual blood pacts and blood oaths with fallen angels from many years in the past, where they made a quote-unquote certain type of deal where their family gets to have a pseudo type of control and pseudo type of ownership over you and over the population in general. And in exchange, these families must do those terrible bad things to children. And that includes all of the bad things that are happening right now underneath the ground. Okay, the news, TV, movies, comics, novels, media entertainment, television, it's not going to say it. No one is going to say it like that. No one is going to say that. Why? It's too horrible to believe that that's the world that you live in daily and is happening right now. It's too horrible to believe it. And on purpose, it is kept hidden from you to keep things going in a certain direction, civilization-wide, society-wide. So it's not just about children in underground bases. That's a part of what's going on. But there's a point to that. The point is to bring about the destruction using murderous force against you, because the devil hates God. That's what's happening right now. God already decided what he's going to do. He's going to save people. He's going to save his people, and he's going to make things right. But before God saves people and before God makes things right, it's going to get very, very fucked up. And it's going to get very, 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 very bad. Meaning, all of the ways of how the underground city is working is going to come to the surface of the earth. And then on the surface of the earth is going to match how the underground is like. Okay? So the same level of technology is going to be the same. And also the same type of wickedness is going to be the same. The same type of wickedness is going to be the same. It's going to be the same. It's going to be identical. It's going to be identical. How can anyone do this? How can anyone do this? Okay, I'll tell you. They're born into it because their family, generations ago in the past, made a promise with fallen angels. And they have this pseudo rulership. And they're born into it. And they're mind controlled and demon possessed into doing it. To the point almost of either not being even a person anymore or whatever. So that's one way. You just happen to be born into a satanic Luciferian generational bloodline ruling family. That shit fucking sucks. You don't want to be born into that. Or you're kidnapped into it. Meaning your family is not satanic. It doesn't have anything to do with it whatsoever. But you're just kidnapped into it. So I was the second one. That's the world. So what's the hope? What's the hope? It's not all doom and gloom, right? No. The hope is God. Jesus specifically. But people have so many hang-ups about him because of the pain that they felt in their life. They feel like God is not good enough, God's not there, God doesn't love them, or God doesn't care about them, or God just doesn't give a shit. And so the pain is so much in their life that they start automatically thinking these things about God that are not actually what the reality of the situation is. And then it always loops back around to the same question that God gets asked countless times. Why does he allow it to happen anyway? Why does he allow it to happen in general? Why does he allow it to happen specifically to you? All those bad things. Why does he allow it to happen to me? Religion has failed in answering that question. Religion is there not to answer that question. Religion is there to emotionally, psychologically, mentally control you, to get you to act in a specific way in order to make you feel better in a fake type of way that isn't actually a real true version of feeling better, but a pseudo fake version of feeling better. That's what religion is there for, including Christian religion. That's what it's there for. It's not there to answer any of those hard questions like, when will the pain finally stop? When will God stop allowing all of the murders to happen? When will God throw all of the fallen angels and all of the devils in his lake of fire? When is God going to come back? When is God going to fix this and that about my life? When is God going to heal this and that bad thing about about me? See, religion, including Christianity, religion, cannot answer that. Okay, Christianity, religion, this is what they'll tell you. They'll tell you, have faith, my brother. Have faith, my sister. Your redemption draws nigh. And if you question that, this is what they'll tell you. You're disrespecting God. You're going against the word. You know what real disrespect in God is? What I just said before. Raping and killing babies. That's disrespecting God. You want to talk about disrespecting God? Butchering a child alive, 5 years old. Shooting them in the head, 8 years old. Smashing their heads against the wall so much that their head deforms, it caves in, and all the juices and all the liquids that's from their brain, that their brain was in, starts leaking out. And then licking it up and eating the brain of the dead child that you just smashed their head into the wall a whole bunch of times. That's disrespecting God. But asking a question, that's not disrespecting anything. That is doing what God literally said to do, which is seek the truth, seek God, which is literally the truth. Jesus is the truth, literally. Seek the truth with all your heart. So how do you seek the truth? You ask questions about stuff that you don't know. That's called truth seeking, is it not? So take a look at these hypocrites that say you asking a question or questioning something is disrespecting God, when God is literally the one saying for you to ask. See that? See how religion is just garbage? All of it is, especially the Christian one. I can list countless examples like that. Okay, countless. There's like infinite number I can talk about. Okay. When the real truth, the real answer is to admit that they don't know what the answer is, and then point the person in the direction of the real person that actually has the answer, which is God. Which is why I always say you have to ask God yourself. You have to ask God yourself. You have to pray to God and talk to God for yourself and see what he's going to tell you directly to you. Ask God directly and have God answer directly to you. Not have it be where you go to a person who doesn't know anything, is ignorant, stuck in the Christian mind control, stuck in the religion mind control of all the other religions, stuck in the witchcraft mind control, stuck in the New Age mind control, and they're not going to help you. They're not going to be able to help you. They won't be able to do anything for you. They will be useless to you in your quest for seeking the truth about things. They won't be able to do it. They won't be able to do it. If you want to know about the underground, talk to someone that was in it. Or talk to God about it. And then you'll know. But I'm telling you right now, it's going to be very horrific. So I hope you're prepared to really know about it. Are you really prepared? Meaning, you don't just know about the underground, but you know about all the implications of exactly what it means, specifically about you, that is there. Meaning specifically about your very existence and life in this world and what exactly it means about living here personally for you. Are you like prepared to embrace that? Because it's going to be super painful. It's going to be super painful. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be happy. It's not going to be nice. It's not going to be good. But it'll be the truth though. See, when faced with the depths of Satan, meaning people murdering babies as worship of the devil, and then eating the babies up as a cannibalistic act of wicked, evil, demonic, satanic, Luciferian influence. Okay, so when faced with something like that, the religion of Christianity, other religions, it fails. See, it's not good enough. It's not good enough to answer to that. It's not good enough to answer to that. It's limited. See, so I'm all about breaking through limitations, especially mental limitations, emotional limitations, limitations on thinking, limitations on feeling, limitations on being, limitations on living. See, Christianity, religion in general, is all about placing limitation. And then when you try to go out of the limitation, then you're going against the tradition, you're going against the religion, you're going against the person that is believing in their specific doctrine of whatever. And then that's when the offense happens. That's how it works. But why does it work like that? Why does that even exist? Why does that even exist? Why does that happening even be? Like, why does that even happen to begin with? Right? Well, because you live in a hellhole world. You live in a hellhole world. You live in a shithole world. You don't live in a nice, happy world where it's happy, 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 joy, 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 joy going on all the time. You live in a world where a lot of horrific things happen to a lot of people. Why? Why? Why is the world the way it is? Okay, I'm just going to talk about basics right now. Why is the world the way it is? Okay. It didn't always used to be this way. There was a time when the world was perfect and good and there was nothing bad in it. And then something happened. Something very specific happened that involved non-human beings, non-flesh and blood people. Something very bad happened. And this very bad thing affected this world, affected this reality. Who was in charge of the bad thing? The devil was. So here we go. Then this is always the next question. Well, then why did God create the devil in the first place? Right? Couldn't God have just made it where it was always good? Couldn't God have made it where it was always good? Couldn't God have made it where he didn't make the devil to begin with and it was just always good and there was nothing bad? Couldn't he have made it that way? God, you know who the devil originally used to be? I'll tell you. The devil was the first of many. The first of his species, the first of his race, okay? Of being, the first of the heavenly host of angels. And the grandest, and the biggest, and the best, and the most beautiful, and the most wonderful. Because God wanted. God wanted. Did you know that God wanted only good things for the devil? Did you know that the devil had no equal, no one besides God surpassed him in any capacity whatsoever? The best at everything. the most perfect of the most perfect, God made him to be. Because God wanted only good for the devil. And so among his brothers, among his brethren, the angels of heaven, he was number one. Because God wanted the best. And only the best for the devil. And nothing but the best. Because God wanted to treat the devil like that. Because God actually cared about the devil. Did you know that? God actually cared. He made the devil because he cared about the devil. And God wanted to give caring and that type of love to Lucifer. That's why God made the devil to begin with, because God cared about him. Are you asking God, why do you care? God made the devil because he cared about him. So to say, why did God make the devil to begin with? That is something that only a person that doesn't really know, basically they're just ignorant to certain things, which is fine. But now you know. That's why. And so, what happened? What happened to the grandest being besides God being more grand, but the grandest created being? A more grander being was made, but not more grander of just one being. A whole group of beings more grander than him were made, called people, men, women. See, he couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle that. He couldn't handle that. Not being number one at something. Well then, why didn't God just make him be able to handle it? God did make him be able to handle it. It wasn't because God didn't make him be able to handle it. That's not the reason. You know what the reason is? It's because the devil didn't want to handle it. He didn't want. He didn't want. It wasn't because he wasn't capable. He just didn't desire it. He didn't desire that. He desired to always be in a certain place in relation to God. But when he realized that he was only the grandest amongst the servants, it made him hate. Because he didn't want to be grandest amongst the servants only. He wanted to be grandest amongst all of the created. He didn't think it was fair. He didn't think he was fair. He didn't think it was fair what God did, even though it was perfectly righteous and just in every way. Okay? So think of the vanity, this vainglorious type of thinking that is so petty and frankly idiotic and frankly stupid and dumb. Not intelligent at all. And this is the reason why the world is so fucked up. Because of some petty creatures' hang-ups about God. About some petty creatures' hang-ups about God. That's the answer. See, religion is not going to be able to explain it like that. Religion is not going to be able to explain it like that. All the religions have their own story that isn't good enough. And not even this story that I'm telling you is good enough, but it's better than the others. And it makes more sense the other ones because that's what actually happened, you know. It actually happened. It actually happened. And so we were born at the end of the world. You know that? We were born at the end of the world. You get to see it end. What does the Bible say? What does God say? Rejoice. Look up, rejoice. Because it's finally going to stop the bad. It's finally going to come to a close. So you can start rejoicing.